Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. I was browsing internet, as usual, I do as a hobby. And I visited Amazon's website. I was surprised and shocked to see Amazon recommending me to read a book titled Indian Way. I was surprised because how did Amazon came to know that I'm an Indian? I never bought curry powder on the internet. I was shocked. If Amazon could find out my ethnic background without me giving any clues, what hopes we have for our privacy and data protection? Anyway, I was curious about this book. As soon as I found the authors, I started laughing loud. Two Americans writing about success stories of Indian businessmen. And the source of their information? Interviewing Indian businessmen who are not known to tell the truth. I know the truth. And I know the Indian way. A trader in Seattle in America, he was importing live crabs from all parts of the world, including India. Well, the crabs from the rest of the world came in closed lid containers. Crabs from India came in an open lid container. And none of the crabs were missing. And it happened a few times, and the trader was puzzled. And he called the Indian supplier and find out why. And the Indian supplier said, I know Indian crabs very well. If one crab tries to escape by climbing the wall of the container, there are 10 other crabs to pull it down. Why waste a lid? I'm saving on packaging. That is Indian way. Indian way is changing. Just 25 years back when I was in university, most popular jokes about Indian way are no longer relevant. See, one of them was about different nationalities. If you leave an American on his own, one American, he will become a rich man. If you leave two Americans, they become millionaires. If there are three of them, they become billionaires. And if you leave one German on his own, he will become a great scientist. And if there are two Germans, they will form an army. If the three join together, they will start a war. And about British, no, I'm not going to tell. I plan to come back in 2 weeks' time. Finally, about Indians. If there is one Indian, he will become a great philosopher, a guru, a godman. And if there are two, they will start their arguments, discussions. And if there are three, it's complete chaos. Becoming a godman is no longer a sought after career option in India these days. There are better career options. A friend of mine, John, went to India recently for the first time. And before he went to India, he was worried, very worried. Ravi, what if my plane crash lands in the middle of the paddy field? In India, in his mind, was full of snake charmers, mosquitoes, and godmen. From the stories he heard from his grandmother. And he was so worried. What if I catch a tropical disease without a cure? Well, the Indian hotels have running waters. I told John, don't worry, things have changed. He wouldn't believe it. He went around every doctor's surgery in Basingstoke and got all kinds of immunization for, every tropical disease out there. couldn't lift his arm next day. When he went to India, he was completely surprised. There were tarmac roads, shiny glass buildings. And some of the executives in our Barclays Indian office, they were driving around in BMWs, not in bullock carts. John came back and said, Ravi, where did all the guardmen go? I told him, running call center business is more profitable these days. What about snake charmers? They are all too busy answering phone calls from DT customers. Keeping jokes aside, the stories of Indian businessmen's success should be rewritten to show to the world how crony capitalism without regulation will lead to series of scams and corruption, how mindless exploitation of countries' natural resources will lead to irreparable damage to the environment and natural disasters, and how in a society, unequal society where rich becomes richer and poor becomes poorer will lead to social unrest and terrorism. The true Indian way is the way of Mahatma Gandhi, who showed to the world impossible can be possible through peaceful protests and being truthful. It is the way of million villagers in India who live a very sustainable life. They pray to the nature as God, and they share whatever little they have with others and lead a happy, fulfilled life despite of the day-to-day struggles they go through for the basic necessities. That is the true Indian way. Mr. Contestant.
Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. The teacher who inspired me most at school was our maths teacher, Mr. Marlowe, and he inspired me on a number of levels. I was particularly impressed by his mathematical skills in the first instance, but secondly, I was impressed by his heroism, and particularly from one incident that sticks in my mind. There was a school assembly going on, and all of a sudden, a first year became fate. And out of nowhere, Mr. Marlowe swooped in, gathered up the first year, and took him off to safety. And as a result of this incident, we wrote a couple of songs about Mr. Marlowe and his act of heroism, one of which I believe was based on the Stand and Deliver song by Adam and the Ants. And I think it went Stand and Deliver. Oh, I can't remember how it went, but it was really very funny and appropriate to the incident. Another reason that I was inspired by Mr. Marlowe was that he was quite a serious teacher, and the people I used to sit next to were not so serious, so it gave us the opportunity to muck about in class and have a bit of fun. So we would have some fun, for example, by keeping a record of the shirts that Mr. Marlowe wore and try and work out some correlation between the days of the week when he'd wear his windmill shirt and other kinds of shirts. We worked out the percentage ball patch on his head, and we came up with a formula for how greasy his hair was. Not only that, we developed a points scoring system with a table behind us for points you would get for being told off by Mr. Marlowe. So straightforward telling off would be 1 point. Once he shouted, "Oi, leave my furniture alone," which got 10 points. If he pointed at you like that, 3 points. Mr. Marlowe inspired me on many levels. First of all, of course, his superb mathematical skills. Secondly, his heroism in rescuing first years. And thirdly, for the inspiration he gave us for having a bit of fun in class. Thank you.